Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to be talking about some soap variations, just different suggestions and ideas and ways you can experiment with your soap making, and how I like to wrap them and get them prepared for selling or giving as gifts. So don't mind all this right here. This is a bunch of fermenting stuff. I have a video on this that's either going to come out after this one, but if I already have the video out, I'll go ahead and link it up here, and I talk about all this stuff that's going on right here. But for now, we're going to get back to the soap. Now, first thing I want to do is show you some of these soaps as they're curing, and I mentioned this in my last soap making video. You'll see a lot of times a white forming on there. You didn't do anything wrong. It's normal. It's called soap ash or whatever. And I'm not sure if they ever really figured out exactly what causes it. Now, some people, what they like to do if you don't like the look of this is you can, after your soap is completely cured, you can spray it down. Especially if it's a nice smooth flat one, you can even wipe it off, after you spray it down with a little bit of water, and then let it dry again, for a few days or whatever, and then you won't have that. Now for me, I tend to like the way it looks, and plus with my little bumpy tops, it's kind of, it would be harder for me to wipe it off anyway. But I want to show you the variations I have. Now this is just some of the soap I have curing right now, and I'll read to you what I have here. So I keep a list. There's a certain way that I organize my soap so I know what's what. And then I keep a running list like this. Don't mind my horrible handwriting. And I scratch it out once I have the soaps wrapped. And I put the dates that I made it so that I know if it's when it's ready to, when it's done curing and it's ready to wrap. Now the purple, the little sticky note, this is the soaps I'm going to make, and once I've made them, I scratch them off and then add them to my list here in order. And then the way I arrange the soaps when they're curing, now obviously I just laid these ones here. I don't cure them on my butcher block. I cure them on that rack there, and I have a couple other racks in the big rec room in there. You'll sometimes see them behind us when Mr. Rain and I are doing our chat videos back there in the one corner. That's my soaps curing. And anyway, so I arrange them from the oldest to the newest in front because, I add them in this way. And then when I'm ready to wrap them, once I have them wrapped and labeled, I then will scratch it off. So the next soap that I'm going to be wrapping is the Lavender, Yarrow, and Bentonite clay. And that is this one right here. And that's why it's kind of got more of a grayish look to it, because it has the Bentonite clay in it. And I did do a video with the grapefruit calendula bentonite clay, and you can find that video right up here. That was actually the last soap making video I did. And then this one right here is orange clove calendula, and I'm going to be wrapping that today. And the third one I'll be wrapping today is the lime vanilla borage. Now all the herbs I use are from my own garden. So obviously I don't grow citrus here in Rain Country. But what I do, and you can look close here, you should be able to see the calendula petals, but some of the other little orange pieces you see in there are actually organic orange peels that I've dehydrated and then processed. And I like to add the citrus peels to my soaps as well. But any of the herbs that are in there are from my garden. The same thing with the lime vanilla borage. Some of the green that you see in there are borage leaves. And then some are lime peels that, again, I dehydrated and then processed up in the blender. Now, those are just a few ideas for you. So using the bentonite clay, and let's see, I should have an oatmeal here somewhere, this one. This one, I don't think I did a video on this one. Maybe I did. Oh, I did. I did do a video on how to make this. And this one's the Peppermint Tea Oatmeal. And I have a video on how I did that one right up here. This is actually a newer batch than that one, but I use peppermint. Actually, I call it peppermint tea because it's actually a whole bunch of herbs from my garden, mostly mints and peppermint. And it's my tea blend that I have sitting over there in one of those jars. That's my regular tea that I drink every night. And, herbal infusion. And then obviously I added the oatmeal to it. And then I use peppermint essential oil to get it you know, that a nice peppermint smell to it as well. Now this one here, this is the first time I've made this blend. I've been experimenting and having fun. And I used cedar oil, essential oil, and patchouli essential oil in it. And then I used my own homegrown borage. And it just has just a wonderful smell that is very more masculine, especially. So guys would probably really like this soap. Another one that I've made that is more guy friendly, but goes either way, is the, I don't have it out here, but it's the one I'm going to make another one of next, is cedar, rosemary, and yarrow. That one has a real nice masculine type smell to it. And then the sixth one I have out here is, this is the rose, pansy, and oatmeal. So roses and pansies from my garden, plus some rose essential oil, and then oatmeal. And then another one that I don't have out here, but I have curing in the other room, is another batch of the grapefruit, bentonite clay, calendula. And that's been a pretty popular one there. So I'm going to be putting all these soaps on my Etsy store, and I'm going to, initially I was selling them in bunches, in packs of 3 soaps with 2 lip balms, and I'll still have packs like that. But I'm also going to be setting these up, so if you're interested in purchasing them and you want to pick and choose, I'll be putting all the soaps into one thing, and then you can pick and choose which ones you want and then add them to your cart that way. Now, if you're into making your own soaps, the what I like to do to wrap them is just use whatever scrap fabric I have, and especially in a color that's going to match whatever's in there. So obviously, for the lavender one, I want to use a lavender type fabric. So I obviously have the green out for the lime vanilla borage, the lime green, and then the orange for the orange clove calendula. So the calendula and the orange fit perfectly. So this one I haven't ripped yet into a strip, and so I want to show you how I do that. Is when you're, especially when you're working with cotton fabrics like this. So I take my soap and I lay it on my fabric in the way that I'm going to rip it, like that, and then I'm going to put a little snip right here. I don't mind if it overlaps a little bit. And then I just rip it all the way down. That's the easiest, fastest way to get a good, clean, straight line. Well, clean, you know, maybe not super clean. You're going to have threads, where you wouldn't have the threads if you cut with scissors, but it does make a nicer looking edge, and it is going to be very straight, especially if you're working with cotton. And then when I go to wrap it, I just go like that. I do another little snip. I want to make sure it wraps over the other, but not too far. Or you can, unless you want it, you know, extra hanging over, because, we'll take that little piece off and add it to my soap scraps, because then the next thing you're going to do, oh, I don't have that label printed off. Let me get to that in a minute. Let me go ahead and do some lavender ones. So same thing with the lavender. I'm just going to wrap it and snip it. Now once you got a size that you feel comfortable with using, you then can just keep cutting more of this size. Now when you're doing the short end, it's okay to just go ahead and cut it if you want. I didn't bring in my longer scissors, I just brought in my short ones. So then you can, like I have 6 bars of each, so I'm going to want 6 pieces of each. Okay, so then I wrap my soap, and if you want it longer so you can wrap it over and give it more protection, that's always a good idea too. And you can just snip off any little extra pieces that are just a little bit much. And then I take my label that I created, and I will link to the labels I use below. The package looks like this. I don't know if you can find them at a store, but I always get mine on Amazon. In fact, I found out I can get these on Subscribe and save a little bit more. And then I print them off like this. Now, I don't remember, I think I mentioned it in another video, but I don't remember if I ever linked to it. You can find online a free program for the Avery labels that you download. It's totally free, and it's a great program that has all kinds of different templates, different things that you can use. And what you will find on your labels is there's going to be a number right here. And so what you do is you type that number of the labels you're going to use into your program, and it will pull up the templates for this and then give you options of different backgrounds and whatever you can use. And what's really cool is that all these different shapes and stuff that are in here, you can reshape. Like this was initially a circle and I turned it into an oval so I can fit the words in there better. You just stretch it out. It's really easy to navigate and use, and I just love the program. And again, it's totally free, so you can download it and then use it for anything from address labels to whatever. So anyway, I'm going to take my label and just stick it on there like that. And then that way, now once I have all these labeled and put away in my special soap drawer, I don't have to worry about keeping track of what this is, because now it's labeled and I can just open my drawer and then pick out the ones that, you know, people are wanting to purchase. Okay, so, and then it looks really nice. Now, you'll see here, let me do one of my orange clove ones. And I think this one, yes, I can rip these this way. So let me do a little snip and rip that. And then I want to show you what the orange clove looks like in the label that makes it different besides the wording. Go ahead and wrap that. Yeah, you want to make sure that before you put that label on there, that when you bring this over, that it's at least close to center, so that's going to hold it in place good. Okay, so now you can see here, I'll hold these up side by side. I used a different color of lettering. You don't have to do that, it's just kind of a fun feature than I did here. So here I use the purple and here I use the orange. And obviously, since these are kind of a rustic looking, you know, a brown paper, if you were to get white ones, then the color is going to stand out better. I just like this brown. I don't know. It just, to me, again, it kind of fits that sort of country type feel. But anyway, so there's some different ideas for wrapping your soaps and for labeling them. And obviously other things you can do is use some kind of twine or whatever that you like and just wrap it, but then you'd still have to find a good way to label it, whatever works for you. This is just the way I do it. This is my little style. And in case anybody wants to give it a try or wants to find where to get those labels, again, look below. I will link to them there. And hopefully I'll remember to find that program and link to it as well so you can download it. And if I forget, please remind me in a comment and I will get on it and get it in there so that you guys can have that link. I hope this gives you some ideas for different things that you can do for your soap making, especially when you're working with herbs and spices. Oh, and I forgot to say on the orange clove calendula, I use the orange peels, I use the calendula flowers from my garden, but of course I also added cloves to it. I don't know if you can see that. You can see little brown specks in there. That's the cloves. So yeah, I mean, just think whatever you have, you can pretty much just throw it in your soap. And the herbs are nice because not only are all these herbs really great for your skin, but everything in there is going to give it a good, just a nice exfoliating kind of feel to the soap. It's just fun, and it gives your soap a different look without having to resort to using some, you know, fake colors and all that kind of stuff. You can still have some very interesting looking soaps. And as you can see these laying out here, they all have different colors just by the herbs that I used in them. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.